Well, partner, we got another episode going on, and this is going to be great because now is in our field. It's talking about things that we have been doing for the last 3 years, but we have our partner here with us. So I'm D.O. Skinner.
And I'm Elliott Anderson. This will be a little bit different today.
Well, we got a special guest.
Yes.
We got probably the person in charge of us as we do things.
Absolutely.
Paulie, you have to introduce yourself to our audience because you've been on before.
I have.
You do an excellent job.
Thank you.
Somebody in our office has to control some of the things, the chaos that we do. So we're looking forward to this and discussing how we can get more people to apply for Chesterfield County Police Department.
Sounds good.
And what better person to do most of the training for us than you?
Yay. Well, thank you for having me.
Yes.
So today we decided for our listeners, it will just be the three of us who work as recruiters for the Chesterfield County Police Department. Mm-hmm. As you know, Darryl and I are doing the podcast all the time, and Paulie's our partner who does a lot more stuff that you just wouldn't imagine. So we thought we'd bring her on today. We'll talk about the future of recruiting, what we've been doing, what some of our successes have been, and anything else that Paulie writes on a sheet of paper and holds up to us that you can't see and says, talk about this. So,
yes.
I saw you saw my notepad.
So Paulie, yes. Can you introduce yourself? I know you've been on before.
Yes, I was previously here with B. Thomas when we did the social media episode. So I am Paulie Malatesta. I have been with the department for a little over 10 years now. I just got my career development up to corporal, so yay.
Okay.
I'm excited about that. But basically, my role in recruitment is not only doing a lot of the stuff on the field like you all do, but I do a lot of behind the scenes kind of things. So a lot of administrative stuff, a lot of research, a lot of registration and communication, phone calls, emails, social media, basically anybody that has any kinds of questions about law enforcement or the department, I'm one of the resources for them. So I am a master of all trades.
So let's speak. Go ahead, partner.
Let's give credit when credit is due.
And that's what I was about to say.
Before we get too deep into this.
Right.
Paulie was very humble in saying that I do some of the administrative stuff in the recruiting office. To our listeners, we want to be clear. She does all of the administrative stuff in the office.
Yes.
Registrations, keeping up on
job
our social media, job fairs.
Contacts with people.
Well,
some
I
of the
appreciate
social
it. I
media
enjoy
sites for our
it.
colleges and universities. So let's be clear on that.
Yes.
Well, thank
Yes.
you. I enjoy what I do. So you guys are very entertaining and great people to work with. You make it easy.
We love working with the people.
Right.
It's just the organization to get to that point.
Exactly. Let's remind our audience from the last time you spoke, Paulie, your background.
Yeah. So I am a military brat. So my dad retired out of the U.S. Army in 2016. So obviously, prior to that, we grew up all over the place. I moved to Chesterfield in 2004, went to Thomasdale High School, went to Radford University in 2008, graduated in 2012 with a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, and then started the academy about a month later. So very little life experience. I had some jobs here and there, but most of my background is, just moving around with my family. It was me, my dad, my mom, and my little sister. That's the four of us. Traveling all over the place. A lot of resources and opportunities as far as just culture shock and living in different places and communicating with different people around the world. And so all of that kind of helped prepare me to be a police officer today.
So your journey through law enforcement.
Yeah, so journey through law enforcement, I have worked the road, I've been on patrol, I'm bilingual, so I definitely got pulled in a bunch of different directions to speak Spanish and help community members on car crashes, investigations, anything that you can think a police officer would respond to, I helped with translation for that. I'm also a general instructor, so I teach at the academy. I help with practicals. I do a bunch of kind of teaching as far as that goes. I have also been a background detective for about a year, and then most recently, obviously in recruitment, and I'm also a member of the production team, which I get to enjoy as well, and kind of tag both interests as far as that goes to sell our messaging and help with the relationship with our community.
And we'll talk more about that in a little bit. Yeah. But let's get into the part that we do well.
Yes.
I say we do well because we travel a lot. We go all over the country recruiting for our police department. And some of the things that we hear from other departments of how many officers they are short, we do come in with a bit of confidence, a little pride that we're not as short as most of the police departments in the areas or that come in contact with us. What are we doing good?
I think one of the things that really helps us out is you can tell the genuine, honest happiness that our officers have here. No one lies and says that law enforcement is easy. It's definitely a challenging career, but one of the things that we have on our side is the relationship with our community, and that a lot of our officers live in Chesterfield. So we have that relationship when we're going to calls, when we're going shopping, when we're taking our kids to school, when we're driving through the county. We have that investment, so to speak,
Good
right? So that within itself sells itself. When we're talking about the job and the opportunities and just the diversity and the experience that our officers have, that's something that is natural. It's not something that we fabricate. We don't sell something that isn't existent with the department. So I think that that's something that helps us out. We also do a bunch of different unique outreach, tactics as far as, we don't just rely on the career fairs. Obviously, that's huge for people when they're looking for jobs. What do? You Google a career fair. Or when you're in school, career services will tell you, we have a career fair coming up. But we do different things as well where we kind of build on that relationship because that's something that's important to us. You can meet someone randomly at a career fair and forget who they are. But, when you guys go out to things, people come back and say, oh, I spoke to Daryl Skinner. I spoke to Elliott Anderson. They remember you guys because of that outreach and that relationship and, just the general investment that you're giving these applicants to actually remember us and think about us when they're making that decision for their careers. So I think that that's just a couple of things that we're doing that kind of make us stand out.
I hear your name more than I hear Elliott Anderson and Daryl Skinner when we go out. I spoke to, but that's a good thing. That's a good thing. That thing that we talk to other departments throughout the area and throughout our country. And that's some of the things we try to pride ourselves in going and talking to students, not only in that career services, career fair, but also in the classrooms and contact rooms. So, Elliott, you've been doing this for a while.
Yeah, I have, on and off over my entire career. But Paulie's a senior officer in the unit, and I want to acknowledge that as well. I think one of the things that leads to our success is how the three of us work together.
Right.
We do see strife in other departments and in other organizations whose recruiters don't necessarily get along. I think we each know our strengths and our weaknesses, and we work on those. I think one of the things that also makes our recruiting successful is the support of our administrators.
Yeah.
Right.
I think our administrators recognize that we're recruiters. We recognize them as our supervision. And they turn us loose to go make it happen.
Right. And coming from upstairs from investigations, I know when they asked me to assist in recruiting, once I was getting to that line about to retire, in doing that, I was reminded that we upstairs in investigation were pretty much free range. You got to go investigate. I trust you to go do your job.
Right.
And when I went to assist you all in recruiting, I pretty much saw the same thing. And that's the respect that the administration have for what the officers are doing. And I like that. And that's been consistent throughout my career in Chesterfield County. And I tell young people, once you prove yourself that you are able to be functionable and doing the things you're supposed to do while you're working, they're going to take the reins off. You go and do what you're supposed to do and make it happen. And I think I'm seeing that with you two guys.
Now, Paulie, you serve both as a recruiter and on the media and marketing team.
Yeah.
How those two merge together? What would you like for our applicants potentially
Didn't we just
know?
have a meeting on this?
Yeah, so obviously having contact with community and the just fielding, the questions that we get on the phone and the emails that I get, or, when I'm at a table and someone comes up to me and says, does your department have XYZ? Those trends and those topics kind of come into play. So I kind of self-title myself as almost the liaison between the personnel side of things and recruitment side of things, the training, the, hiring process, personnel side of things, and then also kind of relate that to, what does the community need to know about the police department? What kinds of questions do they need to have answered? So, for example, I'm probably speaking ahead of turn, but I know in the future there's going to be a frequently asked questions video that I'm starring in, and I'm answering those questions because we get questions all the time. Well, they'll say, hey, I'm interested in law enforcement, but how do I get started? And so we answer those questions just to kind of get them there, give them those resources, introduce them to our YouTube channel. We're all over social media, all those different topics that we've brought up on the podcast before. All kind of help us bridge that gap so that we're all on the same page. And so also, I mean, the police department is intimidating. If you think, if you've never had contact with the police, or you don't know how to approach a police officer, or you don't know how to get a career started, it is intimidating. So it's almost trying to kind of soften that approach a little bit and make us a little bit more approachable and friendly, so that you can ask those difficult questions or those uncomfortable questions, so that you can be well educated.
So I'll go back. If you're looking at when you first started recruiting and where we are now, that generation, Elliott, you've been doing it for a while. Paulie, you've been doing it at least 4 or 5 years or more. You're seeing that gap between where we are in communicating with our students, communicating with people, or even the lateral transfers now. Go back, tell me what we're doing better than we were doing back 5 or 6 years ago.
Well, I know, for example, when I applied, like you get that like email like, oh, we'll be in contact with you in like 8 weeks or whatever, and you're just like staring at your phone and staring at your email, and you're just like, oh my God, am I even gonna get
She's smiling
gifted
now.
the opportunity? Now, I actually call you within 24 hours.
Oh, wow.
So I have access to all of the applications, and I actually reach out to you as an applicant and introduce myself, give you my cell phone number so you can call me, you can text me, you can email me, and we introduce you so that you can be well prepared and answer those questions. Because we also recognize that you might be applying to other areas too. And so we want to be a good resource for you so that you can make that educated decision on which department is best for you. You might find an agency or a jurisdiction or a location that's better suited, but we're going to tell you all the great things about Chesterfield, the truthful, great things about Chesterfield, and we want you to be the one that ultimately has control over your career.
Right.
So that's something that makes us a little bit different just on the forefront of things, is that we're reaching out to you immediately and introducing ourselves and saying, hey, we're excited you've applied, feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Here's my phone number, here's my text, text me, call me, email me, whatever.
Hold that right there.
Yeah.
I'll go to you, partner. When you're talking about the LGBTQ community, 5 years ago, was that brought up?
No, it was not.
So what do you see?
I guess somewhat. I mean, when I served as a liaison for almost the last 7 years, it was a part of my conversation.
Okay.
And I have to give credit to our previous chief, Colonel Dupree, and current chief, Colonel Katz. Colonel Dupree started it, the liaison position, and Colonel Katz has followed through with it.
Okay.
So it was a part of the conversation. It was not ingrained in the culture. Now it is ingrained in the culture. We've done recruiting events specifically in that community and been supported by that community to recruit community members.
But I'm seeing you over when the academies and some of the pre-certs that are coming in, some of the younger people that are coming in, the PSA program that is coming in now.
Right.
You are teaching those types of educational tools for people to be aware of.
Yes,
correct?
Virginia doesn't require a lot of cultural diversity to become a police officer. I mean, it's 14 weeks basically to become a police officer in Chesterfield in Virginia. However, here it's like 32 to 34 weeks depending on when you start.
Exactly.
Which is significant because our department values the education of officers to be trained properly to be police officers. So it is an added expense to our local government taxpayers. But in being good stewards of our public funds, we feel that we have to invest that amount of time to turn out quality police officers.
Right, and the training doesn't just stop there.
Right,
Exactly. It's you have monthly online trainings that we get from the academy, and Commonwealth attorney updates and different things like that, so that even if you've been through the academy and it's been 5, 10, 15 years, you're still getting updated on the topics of conversation, the culture, any kind of
training.
updates, specialized training, annual in-service training. So the academy doesn't just stop there. So we definitely go above and beyond and really kind of invest in our officers and the training that we get, so that we're good, helpers of the community, essentially.
So those are some of the things that we are doing well in recruiting.
Yes.
So if I'm looking at it now, and you were to go out and speak to kids, walk me through what we tell people that want to be police officers in Chesterfield. What's the process?
Yeah. So my approach is I usually ask an applicant what it is that they're looking for.
Okay.
Whether you might have someone that's really interested in going into investigations, or maybe canine has been instilled in them since birth, or whatever it is. So usually I ask them what they're looking for so that I can cater the conversation to them. Everyone has different backgrounds and experiences and different wants and needs. And so some people might really care about tattoos. And so they
Okay.
want to know, can I have this kind of tattoo?
yeah.
Or how can I wear my hair? Or, you're a female. How do you do your makeup? Things like that that might be important to them, but everybody's different. So I kind of try to cater that conversation to each applicant as they come. And then one of the things that I specifically like to talk about is that the things that you see on TV, right? You see the lights and sirens, the people running everywhere. Everything is a crazy emergency that you see. It's advertised as a fast-paced job, which, yes, there are a lot of exciting things. People don't call the police when they're having a good day, usually.
Exactly.
So I try to talk to them and kind of bring home the fact that you have different choices as far as a career goes.
Right.
And I use myself as an example. When I went to school, I didn't realize that I'd be using social media professionally.
Right.
I didn't realize that I could take a hobby, something simple like photography, and use that on a flyer for our police service aide position, or different things like that you have interests in. That I'm still a sworn police officer and I still took an oath and am responsible for XYZ. Right. You can choose what kind of a career path you want, and it doesn't necessarily mean going to calls for service, taking people to jail, and writing tickets. There's a bunch of different hats that you can wear that isn't just law enforcement. So that's something that I like to share with applicants, so that if they wanted to be a role model, they can work in the schools. If they want to help with kids and be that, that face of the department for a younger adult, you can do this, you can do that. And so it kind of, that's one of my things that I like to share when I'm on at an event, is just discuss the different opportunities, and I'll talk about the different angles that I came from and my experiences. And so that's something that's
good.
unique.
And again, that's when we talk about our differences, but we come together as one. What's yours?
I don't talk as much about the department. The young people have the opportunity to go on our website and see our videos and go to YouTube and listen to the podcast. I talk more about the quality of life.
Right.
Young people today see companies that have volunteer leave, or they have in-home daycares or at-work daycares. I talk about that work-life balance. The reality is there are probably 100,000 police departments across the country. They could go to any one of them. But I want to talk to them why they should be here.
Sure.
And we talk about places of worship. We talk about how close we are to the beach or to the mountains or outdoor activities, or if they're in the history. We talk specifically about what are they looking for to be happy when they get home.
Right.
You're going to be happy here working. We're not a perfect department.
Sure.
I don't know of any.
Yep.
But we do a great job of looking out for our people.
You sound like my pastor in church. We're not a perfect church.
Right.
We are a place where we would be trying to become perfect. So,
but culturally, I think we have arrived.
Sure.
Also, as a minority officer, we get a lot of questions about what's it like being a minority officer. When you don't see people who look like you, then that makes it a little bit harder. But I keep it 100 and offer them the opportunity to come and do a ride along, or we can show you our equipment and show you around the county where you're going to work and live, and why you want to live here and work here.
Yeah, and I agree with both of you all, and I try to keep it with the 100, if you want to say. I'm talking to, especially being going to most of the HBCUs throughout our recruiting, and anytime you come across a young person, a female, a person of color, first generation, because we don't have a lot of legacy in law enforcement. But I give them the school of bringing up your kids in Chesterfield County.
Yeah.
Right.
That was one of the best things that happened for me moving from where I moved from in Virginia Beach and coming to Chesterfield. There's specialty schools. The schools are not overcrowded. Well, now they're not overcrowded. But there's so many opportunities, not only with Chesterfield Police Department, but for your spouses, for your partners, to be able to get around the city in Henrico, Chesterfield, and some of the smaller areas in this.
Going back to what you were saying, is that's us being honest.
Yes.
And that's what sells.
Yes.
Is here 3 different officers talking about 3 different things, but we're not fabricating anything. And so that is what makes us unique, is that we want people to work here for the right reasons.
Exactly.
And if we're creating this false world, even though we're being honest, it might not be what you want to hear. But if you're interested in raising a family, here's why. If you're interested in having, the work-life balance, here's why. So all of these different things are what makes us unique as a department, because we're being honest. And so the way that I look at it is, I don't want this person backing me on a call if they're being given false information.
Exactly.
They're going to be going to your house, to their family's house, to my friend's house, to my partner's house, anything like that. So it's going to be, I believe it all irons itself out.
It does.
And
It
the
does.
people that choose to do this are doing it for the right reason.
And I think this generation of applicants are different than when I came 25 years ago.
No question.
They will ask very direct questions. When I went through the process, what my background detective said, that's what I did. If he said be here at 6, I was here at 5:30 or quarter after 5. Now they don't mind asking, hey, I am a member, this is my faith. Do you know if there's a place of worship, or this is my gender identity, or this is my sexuality, or this is the sport I play? Do you have anybody in the department I can speak to along those lines? And I feel pretty fortunate. We have a lot of officers here who are willing to take the time to talk to applicants. Whether it's someone who wants to lateral from New York City, NYPD. Do you have any current former NYPD people that I could talk to?
Or JMU or any other
graduates.
schools
Right.
that we get officers to link up with and talk to them about some of their experiences here. But again, I bring up the part about the administration have allowed us to use our skills properly.
Yes,
and I think
absolutely
we
have.
are doing that a pretty good job of that.
Oh,
So
yeah.
when I get into the numbers of how many people short we are, we don't really get into those numbers. And we come in here with our chests out that we only 15 short or 12 short or whatever. But we know we got consistent academies that people are applying for to get into. So those numbers are going to be flexible or go into different areas.
Well, we will say that
But we will say we do. And I know-
that as of last week, out of the
but if we laughing, it feels good to go to a job fair, and you walk through the door. It could be Paulie, it could be you, Elliott, it could be you, me, or some of the other people. We'll talk briefly about training other officers to be part-time recruiters. But when you come in that audience and you see Chesterfield, and everybody pretty much know, like, come on, man, y'all fully staffed.
Right.
Why are y'all here? And I try to convey to them that it's about a marketing thing now. That we know we can come. We want you to see us. We want you to know that we're still in looking for good officers, good people to be part of our family. So that's a good feeling. That's a good feeling to go into those job fairs and things.
But you don't want to rest either.
Sure.
You want to continue to advance.
Yeah.
You want to always strive for the best.
Yes.
And so you always have to be looking. Law enforcement is such a unique profession that you never know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
Everybody's different, processes situations differently, and so you always want to be constantly striving to be better than you were yesterday and looking for those people that are going to help advance the department for the next 5, 10, 15 years. So we obviously don't want to stop ourselves short.
Sure.
And we want to continue to
Get
strive
behind that
and
eight
keep
ball and not be able to get up. Right.
Well,
So, go ahead.
Darryl doesn't want to talk about the numbers, but I'm going to say it. We are the destination department in Virginia.
Yes.
Out of the top 10 most populous areas, we rank number 1.
Yep.
And being closest to being fully staffed at about 97.7% as of last week.
Right. Right.
Our department is doing a great job of looking out for our officers financially.
Yep.
We have a wonderful wellness program. But on top of our department and our administration, it comes down to our board of supervisors, our county administrator, but most importantly, the partnerships that Paulie spoke about earlier with the community.
Right. Absolutely.
Whether it's a faith-based community or any of the communities throughout Chesterfield County. We have been invited to car shows, chili cook-offs, every neighborhood
nights,
event,
bounce houses.
movie nights, bounce houses. But it ultimately comes down to the community support.
Yeah.
When we are good stewards of public trust,
Right.
this is what happens. We don't have severe shortages like other jurisdictions across the country have. We're not underpaid.
Yep.
We have a great
Definitely
career
not
development.
underpaid.
Yeah, we have a great career development program. And when you factor in the goodness of the department and the quality of life here in Chesterfield County, I don't know why we're not 500% over,
I agree.
but we will be.
I agree. One day.
Sometimes it's just because people don't
Yeah.
know what they don't know,
Oh,
but when they know,
Oh, man.
man, they lighting us up coming through
I
the
have
door.
been hearing that when you don't know, for how many years now. But no, this is what we needed, though. We needed to have a moment and talked about some of the good things that we have been doing in recruiting in our area. And I appreciate it. I appreciate, Paulie, you coming in and hanging out with us. If anything you can leave us with that's going on what we used to ask the Colonel all the time. What's something that nobody else knows about?
Oh dear. I don't want to disappoint. But the Chesterfield County Police Department is hiring.
Yes.
In case you didn't get that message. But also just on the positive things, we're very lucky here in Chesterfield, and we do know that. And so definitely our success is from the support. Our community has the support, and I think that speaks volumes as to why we're currently where we're at. And so, even now that we're hiring lateral transfers, I mean, there's been a lot of success with that program, with our police service aid program that's been incredibly successful. And just, helping us kind of spread the message. So we're even reaching younger adults or, younger, age groups of people, and our school resource officers are being the point of contact and just kind of helping develop that relationship. So, like I said, I think that we're doing a lot of unique things. I think that we're doing a lot of advanced things, and we're excited. It's a good feeling to know that we're doing well.
I'd like to do a part 2 one day and talk about some of the part-time officers that you all are training now to go with us to some of the universities that they have attended. Or some in the area that we can't go to with 3 people because we're getting calls from so many different areas. So let's look forward to that. Partner, you want to bring anything else?
Yeah, I want to say thank you to Paulie publicly for being a number of things. First, for being patient with Daryl and I. Daryl and I joke. We work in the office together, so we joke. We're rambunctious. We get stuff done, but we are quite loud sometimes for other people.
We do get called from Paulie.
So Paulie does have a separate office where she can focus away from us.
Which I am thankful for.
But, also all the hard work she does on the administrative aspect. It is a lot of moving pieces to recruitment. We are traveling, not only throughout Virginia, but up and down the East Coast, making contacts, building those relationships. And they start with positivity coming from an administrative angle of reaching out initially, and we are thankful to you for all your help.
Thank you.
And thankful that she came in and fixed my calendar today. And that she doesn't get upset when I forget dates.
I said
She's
it earlier.
told me.
I wear many hats, and I'm happy doing it.
She doesn't mind doing it.
Yes.
All right, partner, you want to sign us out of here?
Well, we appreciate our listeners listening today, and remember, you can find us on all of your social media applications, as well as if you're interested in applying for the Chesterfield Police Department as a police officer, a lateral officer, or a police service aide, simply go to joinccpd.org. That's joinccpd.org, and we look forward to you joining us next time.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.